Why do we get recovery wrong? I'm asking this because I feel like I'm in an especially privileged position to be talking about this today because I'm not recovered, and that's okay. I have felt exhausted, I've felt tired, and I've felt the accumulated sort of tiredness this weekend. And this morning I had this overwhelming sense of just I don't feel like it. That was what I basically kept repeating to myself like a mantra. Was just I don't want to. I don't feel like it. I just everything felt like walking through concrete or something. Like that's how it felt this morning. Waking up at 4 a.m., going through a workout, it was painful. It was disgusting, but I did it anyway. And so that's why I want to talk to you about recovery because I know how important it is. This is why I want to talk about it. And I feel like no matter how well I know, how much I know about recovery, it still feels like I get it wrong. Because this weekend I did work that I haven't done in months probably. Like I in my eyes did hard work, relatively speaking. And instead of recovering properly, I defaulted back to the type of recovery that I have a tendency of going back to in situations where I'm basically just I'm tired enough to where I can't work, but I'm not tired enough to where I can sleep. Your head basically feels like cookie dough. That's the best way that I can describe it. Because you sort of just feel like your entire head is mush. So you can't really properly focus, but you also know that you have work to do. So you know that you can't stop because if you stop it's just going to get worse. So you're in this sort of middle position. You're not recovered, but you also can't really recover properly, or at least not in my case, because I didn't have the willpower to. So I went back to my old ways and, like a bit of a hypocrite, watched Netflix. Because in those moments, that feels like the perfect way to recover, doesn't it? When you're tired, when you just sort of want to turn off your brain for a while and, like, you think you're clearing your head and sort of just getting more motivation to do the work after, you're not. You're just too tired to do actual recovery, like, I don't know, read a book, take a nap. Weirdly enough, take a nap also sometimes feels hard or tiresome. Uh, and you're also too tired to keep working and, get your head out of your ass. So you're mush. you're mush at this point. And instead of accepting that maybe it would be smarter to actually put in a little more effort and, like, sit down and do a meditation to clear your head properly, or do a brain dump or go for a walk or something, you don't have the you don't have the activation energy to start. You don't feel like starting something like that because that's the hardest part. Once you get started, it works, but before that, it just feels like you're staring at a brick wall that's daunting you. It's like, if you walk through me, you will suffer, basically, is what it's saying. That's not the reality, but that's how it feels. And so instead, what you do, or in my case, what I did was you sit down and you watch Netflix because that doesn't require energy at all, is what you think. In reality, you're just stimulating yourself. You're becoming stimulated, and it sort of feels good in the moment. You feel like you're relaxing or recovering, quote unquote, but you're really not. You're just turning your brain off and going numb for a while, letting the show sort of stimulate you and get your head away from those uncomfortable thoughts that you otherwise would have. And instead of actually dealing with the uncomfortable thoughts that you have, you numb yourself. That's what I did. And so that's why I feel a bit tired today. I don't feel great. I don't feel perfect. And so that's why I'm asking, why do we get recovery wrong? And why do we treat it this way? Like the moments when we need it most, when we should actually use more force to actually recover and do something properly for ourselves. That's when we're the least likely to. At least that's when I'm the least likely to, because those moments when I'm tired, it's way easier to watch Netflix than to do a meditation. And it's the same in the evenings, like for me right now. After I'm done recording, in reality, what I've written down as my sort of habit list is to start with a brain dump, take my vitamins, sit down and record, then meditate. Do you know how difficult it is to just start the meditation after I'm done with this? I don't feel like it. For some reason, my brain just wants to do anything but that. The activation energy feels like it's this brick wall. But that's when I need it the most. This is when the meditation has the greatest effect of all. And I know that if I do it, I'm gonna feel amazing. I know that it's gonna clear my head. It's gonna allow me to just observe the sort of residual thoughts that I have both from this and from work earlier today. The brain dump sort of helps. That's a rough filter to sort of dump the most prominent thoughts that are sort of that you're aware of. But during the meditation is when those thoughts come up that you've let go of, or you think you have. Those like conversations you had during the day, they sort of float up and they're like, why did I say that stupid shit? And then something else pops up where it's like, oh yeah, right, I completely forgot that I have to do this thing tomorrow. So it's sort of this unsettled residue that you take care of during that meditation, but getting started feels impossible most days. And so I suppose this is both a I've been stupid this weekend and a public commitment to not be stupid tonight, basically, so that I don't dig myself deeper into the hole. Because that's usually the biggest thing with recovery, at least for me. You know, if you sleep real shitty for a night, like you get 5 hours or something, you feel fine the day after. You're like, I'm okay. I can survive this. This is fine. Like I can still operate at my normal level. But that's just because you only dug yourself slightly into the hole. But if you do that for 2 days in a row, then you really start to feel that it's like, okay, so it sort of gives you double. The first time that you do the bad thing, that you don't recover, you don't notice it. You're sort of normal. But the day after that, when you do it again, it's sort of like, you know, It's sort of like the IRS, I suppose, coming to collect your taxes. It's like if you don't pay them the first time, they are gonna ask for interest. And soon enough, they're gonna be breaking down your door and demanding that you pay them. Thankfully, I'm not talking from experience, but I'm at least imagining that that's how that works. Pay your taxes, goddammit. But okay. Anyway, so that's sort of how I look at recovery. Is that if you don't pay your debts up front, you don't treat it with the proper respect that it deserves, it's gonna come back and it's gonna ask for interest. It's gonna come asking for more than what you in reality would have had to give in order to sell your debt, so to speak. And so, at least in my case, when I've already dug myself slightly into the hole, but it still feels like this is fine. Like I can deal with this. Don't worry about it. Like I'm fine. I can do this. This is okay. No problem. That's when I dig myself deeper into the hole by not respecting it, because it doesn't feel like it's a problem. It doesn't feel like I need to treat it properly. It feels like I don't know, invincible in that moment when I already know that I am not, sadly enough. And it's only when it starts to accumulate and really start asking for that interest, that's when it comes to bite you in the ass. And you have to pay for your sins, essentially. And that's when you sit down like I am doing right now, and you show yourself that if I don't treat my recovery with the proper respect that it deserves, you don't feel good. And that's what we get wrong the most about recovery, is that it doesn't even need it, like it demands respect. And it's way harder, like it's way easier said than done to do that. But if you don't, it will come back to bite you. So yeah, treat your recovery with respect, and like let me know down in the comments, what are your like top 3 recovery tactics? Because for me, it's reading that really like gets my mind clear. Brain dumps after work to just, clear the clutter, so to speak, clear those thoughts. And then meditation is always great. My like number 4, which is a close bonus, is like going out for a walk. But since it's the winter and it's cold shit, I'm not really using that as often. I mostly use that in the summer, but that also works amazingly well to actually recover and feel better mentally, which is huge. So, yeah. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you in the next one.